Again, welcome to all. So today our next topic is about next biomacromolecule, that is nucleic acids. We have discussed about proteins, lipids, carbohydrates. We have discussed about enzymes. So the last portion of this biochemical involves nucleic acids, their importance and classification, and what are the structures of nucleotides. Okay, types of nucleotides, DNA, about RNA, type, secondary and tertiary structure. About so in this topic, we will completely study about the nucleic acid as major macromolecules. So first of all, we should know what are nucleic acids. Okay, we know that basically nucleic acid are basically polynucleotides. Okay, nucleic acids are basically polynucleotides, which are having very high molecular weight. Okay, and their monomeric unit is nucleotide. Okay, their monomeric unit is nucleotide. So nucleic acids are the polynucleotides having high molecular weight, and the monomeric unit of this nucleotide of nucleic acid is the nucleotide. Because they are very they because these nucleotides are of very long chain. These nucleotides are of almost very long chain, means their molecular weight is in fact more than protein, carbohydrate, or sometimes more than lipid also. Okay, so based on them, there are two types of nucleic acid: DNA, that is called as deoxyribonucleic acid, and RNA, that is called as ribonucleic acid. DNA and RNA. So the complete nucleotide consists of three things. First, it contains nitrogenous bases, it contains pentose sugar, it contains phosphate group. Okay, nucleotide contains nitrogenous bases, pentose sugar, and phosphate group. All these three things together makes nucleotide, which is the basic unit of nucleic acid. So we can say that both DNA and RNA, they are made up of nitrogenous bases. They are having pentose sugar, and they are having the phosphate group in their chemical structure. Okay, normally both DNA are both double stranded, RNA single stranded. RNA are also generally double stranded, single stranded. Normally DNA are double stranded and RNA are mostly single stranded. Okay, normally DNA are generally double stranded and RNA are generally single stranded. But mostly the plant infecting nucleic acids are RNA, and animal infecting nucleic acids are basically DNA. Plant infecting nucleic acids are basically RNA, and animal infecting nucleic acids are basically DNA. So this is the basic introduction about nucleic acid. It contains about long polynucleotides, which are made up of base, sugar, phosphate, two types, DNA and RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. Generally DNA are double stranded, RNA are single stranded. We will study their structure in detail little bit, but first of all we should know what is the basic definition of nucleic acid. Then see, this is the RNA can be found in nucleus, but mainly they occurs in cytoplasm, which can carry out the protein synthesis work. Okay, RNA are mainly, I told you, they are involved in the process of transcription and translation. So their main role is in the protein synthesis work. But DNA, it is found in nucleus along with that major cell organelles like chloroplast and mitochondria. See, we have two chromatids here of 700 nanometer diameter. These two are parallel. They have chromosomes which are best observed in metaphase stage. From here, long thread-like structure is there that is called as radial loops, that is 300 nanometer in diameter. Then they appears as a solenoid model, repeated callings of nucleic acid, which is 30 nanometer in fiber, and this particle which is coated with certain proteins, they are called as nucleosomes. So this solenoid model contains 13 nanometer fiber and then contain nucleosomes which contain some histone proteins like H2A, H2B, H3, H24. Besides that, they contain the helix of this DNA, which is around 146 base pair. It is around about 2 nanometer in diameter. So this is the complete structure of solenoid model, which is having DNA and histone proteins. The histone proteins contains of basically 5 types of proteins: H1, H2A, H2B, H3H4. H1 is appear as a single replicate, while H2A, H2B, H3, H4 there are duplicate. So histone proteins are there to provide the basically they are basic proteins. This is the complete structure of solid model. It is having chromatids are attached, chromosome is there, some chromosomes, radial loops are there, 300 nanometer in diameter. Then certain callings called 30 nanometer in diameter. Then calling is called nucleosome, which is 11 nanometer in diameter. It contains histone proteins along with DNA, that is 146 base pair. It is 2 nanometer in diameter. Okay. Then we discuss about what I want to say. I want to say basically that, sorry, some problem is there. DNA and RNA are nucleic acids. Both they are long thread-like polymers, and they are made up of linear monomers I call nucleotides. I told you it contains three components: nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and phosphate residue. The sugar is always pentose and the base is always nitrogenous. We cannot use it, do not contain any other base or any other sugar. And besides that, they contain phosphate group. If phosphate residue is absent, then we can call as nucleosides. But we add phosphate group, it's called as nucleotides. So three things are there: nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and phosphate residue. It is made up of these three things. Now clearly, we can see this diagram that chemical structure of we can say DNA and RNA. Okay. See, both DNA and RNA contains purine and pyrimidine bases. Both they contain purine or pyrimidine bases. This is the pentose ring. This is the beta position. This is the base, the sugar, base, and this is the phosphate group. Base, sugar, and phosphate. These three things makes the nucleotide. The base could be either purine or pyrimidine. We will discuss later on. The base could be either purine or pyrimidine. Ribonucleotides is having at second position two hydroxyl group. Two means hydroxyl position is there. And if we remove this oxygen atom, it will become what? Deoxyribonucleotides. Removal of oxygen is called as deoxyribo. So there is not so much difference in the structure of RNA and DNA. Just only very minor difference of oxygen at the second position. If it is having OH, then we call as ribonucleotides. If it is having 2H, we are called as deoxyribonucleotides. So these are the base, sugar, and phosphate. So the base can be purine or pyrimidine. Pentose sugar and phosphate is there. Then comes bases. Basically there are two types of bases: purine and pyrimidine. Purine bases are called as adenine and guanine. Okay, no doubt structure is complicated, but we can remember the name. Purine bases are adenine and guanine. They both are same for RNA and DNA. Okay, purine bases are same for both RNA and DNA. Now comes pyrimidine bases. There are three types of pyrimidine bases: cytosine, thymine, and uracil. Cytosine, thymine, and uracil. Again, cytosine is a pyrimidine which is common for both DNA and RNA. Then comes thymine. Thymine is only present in DNA, whereas uracil is always present in RNA. Now see the structure: COCO same, HNHN same, COCO same, NHNH same, CHCH same. Only one removal of methyl group from thymine becomes uracil. When we remove this methyl group from thymine, it becomes uracil. So uracil is mainly found in RNA and thymine is mainly found in DNA. So DNA contains adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. A, G, C, T. RNA contains adenine, guanine, cytosine, uracil. A, G, C, U. So this is the basic difference between purines and pyrimidines. Purines is common for both RNA and DNA. but difference is of pyrimidine. So in RNA it is having uracil, and in DNA it is having thymine. Then we discuss about base and sugar. If there is no phosphate group, we call as nucleoside. So adenine plus ribose is called adenosine. Adenine plus deoxyribose we call as deoxyadenosine. So when we added phosphate group in this, what we called nucleotide. So the difference between nucleoside and nucleotide is only of phosphate group. The difference between nucleoside and nucleotide is only of phosphate group. Base and sugar same in both. So again example, adenosine monophosphate, adenosine diphosphate, adenosine triphosphate. Depends upon the number of phosphate group. If 1 monophosphate, 2 diphosphate, 3 triphosphate. When we add base, sugar and phosphate, we call as nucleotide. And without phosphate groups, we call as nucleoside. Okay, so this is the basic structure. Then we discuss about names of various nucleosides and nucleotides. So in RNA, what are the bases? Adenine, guanine, cytosine, and uracil. In DNA, what are the bases? Adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. When we talk of nucleoside, what we will say? Adenosine, guanosine, cytidine, uridine. Same study, same, put deoxy before that, same pronunciation. Deoxyadenosine, deoxyguanosine, deoxycytidine, and at the place of uridine, we have deoxythymidine. AGCT is common in DNA, AGC is common in RNA. Then we talk about nucleotides. Adenosine 5 monophosphate, guanosine 5 monophosphate, cytidine 5 monophosphate, uridine 5 monophosphate. AGCU, AMP, GMP, CMP, UMP. Same story came here. Put word deoxy before that. Deoxyadenosine 5 monophosphate, deoxyguanosine 5 monophosphate, deoxycytidine 5 monophosphate means above 3 are same, just write word deoxy. Then difference is of fourth. Deoxythymidine 5 monophosphate, DTMP. So it contains DAMP, DGMP, DCMP, DTMP. Adenosine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. RNA, adenosine, guanosine, cytosine, uracil. So these are the minor difference between base, nucleoside and nucleotide. So this is a triplet of which basic unit of nucleic acid, which we call as nucleotide, it is made up of. Then we discuss about history of DNA. Okay, we all of should study something, but before that the history is connected. Actually, it was known that DNA was double helical structure. One scientist whose name was Frederick Griffith, he discovered that the factor in disease bacteria can transform harmless bacteria into deadly bacteria. Means if the bacteria is very, very harmless, but it can become deadly. How? By the transformation of this DNA, which is double helix. This statement has been given by Frederick Griffith. So he told that the harmless bacteria can convert it into the deadly bacteria. He told this statement in 1928. See, in the case of DNA, every scientist has its own contribution. So it is remember to know the contribution of each scientist. Right, so first we discuss about Griffith, who did transformation experiments in DNA and who told that the harmless bacteria can become the disease bacteria once DNA is inserted into the body. Then we discuss about a female called as Rosalind Franklin. That lady discovered the X-ray photograph of DNA. Okay, that lady, Rosalind Franklin, she discovered the X-ray photo of DNA. When? In 1952. In 1952. Okay. Then another scientist was there called Watson and Crick. They again described the DNA molecule from this Franklin's X-ray experiment. 1953. This is Crick, this is Watson. Both are good friends. So the credit goes to Watson and Crick for the DNA double helical structure. So the main credit for DNA double helical goes to Watson and Crick. They gave their statement just after the studies from the X-ray photography from Miss Rosalind Franklin. And Rosalind Franklin was a PhD student of, she was the PhD guide of Watson and Crick. They all were working on a nucleic acid, but suddenly due to certain accident, she died in the lab. So the credit goes to double helical of DNA goes to Watson and Crick. Okay. Then, however, both Watson and Crick, when they become old, they got Nobel Prize in the Physiology or Medicine in 1962 for their discoveries regarding the molecular structure of nucleic acid and their significance. This is the Crick and this is the Watson. This is the old age. This slide is the young age and this slide is the old age of Watson and Crick. So in 1962, they got Nobel Prize for Physiology as well as Medicine for their discoveries concerning the molecular structure of nucleic acid and their significance for information transfer in living material. For their discoveries concerning the molecular structure of nucleic acid, and what is the role in their transformation of information. Right, I have told you the example that the simple harmless bacteria can become into the deadly bacteria. How? Just by the transformation experiments of the DNA, which was given by Griffith. Okay, so they got Nobel Prize for their discovery and for the molecular information about the nucleic acids, how they are able to transform the message from one living organism to another, means how they are signaling. Then we will see the double helical model of DNA. Okay, what are the features of this double helical model of DNA? See, it is like a coiled structure. Between the coiled structure, there are bases. There are traveling bases. Side by side, there is the phosphate group. Base is there, phosphate is there, and between them is the sugar molecule. So the average diameter of DNA double helical is 2 nanometer, and total size when we calculate vertically, total size is around 34 nanometer. Total size is around 34 nanometer, and it contains 10 times coiling. So one complete turn, the size of one complete turn is 3.4 nanometer. We can see that the base are present on the superficial side, base and sugar, phosphate and sugar, and between them are the nitrogenous bases. So the phosphate group is attached on the fifth end. It contains two types of ending, fifth end and 3 end. And the hydroxyl group is present on the third dash, 3 end. And this, when we reverse, the same story change. 3 dash become upper side and 5 dash become lower side. So these two bases are complementary to each other. This means complementation. Means fifth phosphate group, fifth end, hydroxyl group, third end. In complementation of that, the scenarios change. Upper side is third end, lower side is fifth end. And the bonding between base, sugar and phosphate is complete. So what I told, total number of turns are 10. Total diameter is 34 nanometer. One complete turn is 3.4 nanometer. The diameter of DNA is 2 nanometer. It has phosphate and sugar in the outside, embedded with the base, both purine and pyrimidine. Phosphate group is bonded to the fifth end. Hydroxyl group is bonded to the 3 end. When we reverse the scenario, same observation we got again. 3 dash and 5 dash. Okay. Then this is a basic photograph of DNA double helix. We can see these are the major groups. This major folding, major spacing is called major group. In the small space where the bases are found, they are called as minor groups. Based on the thickening, they are based on the thickening and the space and the cleft. They are classified as major group and they are classified as minor group. Okay, so basically groups has its own importance. When we will go for further transcription and translation and the complexes are done, that groups comes into the play. So this DNA double helix contains two types of group, major group and minor group. Now see. Now we discuss about the basic double helical structure of DNA. I told you it is double helix. It has two strands running in the opposite direction, one from 5 to 3 dash, another from 3 to 5 dash. So they are called as complementary to each other. Each chain, total 10 number of base pair are there. Total diameter vertical is 34 nanometer. Horizontal diameter is 2 nanometer. One turn completes in 3.4 nanometer. Each chain is a polymer of subunits called nucleotides. Okay, each chain is a polymer of subunits called nucleotides. The backbone made up of deoxyribose. Each strand has the backbone made up of deoxyribose sugar molecules linked together by phosphate group. Okay, each strand has the backbone made of deoxyribose sugar molecule linked together by phosphate groups. The backbone is made up of sugar. Outside is the phosphate group, and in the between embedded is the base pair. The sugar and phosphate are linked by the phosphate groups, and base and sugar connected by both hydrogen bond. Some glycosidic bonds are also there. Okay, so a lot of bondings are there because they have to make bonding between three types of structure: base, sugar, phosphate. All these are having different chemical structure, right? Then we discuss about the chain. An angle of 36 degrees between adjacent residues in the same chain. So at the degree of every total is 36 degrees rotation of the adjacent side chain. And I told you that total there are 10 repetitions means 10 turns, and total number of diameter is 34 angstrom. So each turn is having a diameter of around 34 divided by 10, that is 3.4 angstrom nanometer. The distance between the phosphorus atom from the fiber is around 10 angstrom. The distance of the phosphate from the fiber which is in the between is around 10 angstrom. So what I told, the degree of angle is 36 degree between the adjacent residue in the same chain. The structure repeats after 10 residues, that is after 3.34 angstrom, means each turn is having 3.4 angstrom nanometers. The distance of phosphorus from the fiber axis is around 10 angstrom nanometer. Okay, so all this is about the basic structure of DNA double helix. Then then next PPT. So we can say that since the number of carbon atoms are more, the third carbon of the sugar molecule is connected to the phosphate group of the fifth carbon of the next sugar. Means two sugar are connected. Of one sugar, third carbon is connected, and in the adjacent sugar, fifth carbon is connected with each other with the phosphate group. So this connection between third carbon of sugar and fifth carbon of sugar, it is called as 3' to 5' phosphodiester linkage. It is called as what? 3' to 5' phosphodiester linkage. Then each sugar molecule is covalently linked to one of four possible bases. Each sugar molecule is covalently linked to one of the four possible bases. I told you the base adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. We are talking about DNA, so we are not talking about uracil. So, lot of bondings are there: phosphate bond, phosphodiester bond, covalent bond, hydrogen bond. All kind of bondings are involved in the basic structure of DNA nucleic acid. So, they contain base pair like adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Each sugar molecule is covalently bonded with four possible bases. Then, when we talk about double stranded DNA, I told that both the strands were in opposite direction. They were complementary to each other. So that's what one 5 dash, 3 dash, another 3 dash to 5 dash. Bonding is same, but direction is opposite. That's why we call as both are complementary to each other. The base pair in such a way, the base pair up in such a way that A always pair with T and G always pair with C. The bases are paired in such a way that A always pair with T and G always pair with C. Okay. The bases are always base pair in such a way that adenine are base paired with thymine and guanine are base paired with cytosine. So the pairing between A and T has 2 hydrogen bonds and the pairing between G and C has 3 hydrogen bonds. The pairing between 2 hydrogen bonds is AT base pair and the GC base pair it has 3 hydrogen bonds. So among them GC base pair is a little bit stronger. We require higher energy to break this GC bond pair. GC base pair. Why? Because it is having one bond extra. So it requires more energy to break GC bond as compared to AT base pair bond. So what we discussed that it has phosphodiester bond. I told you covalent bond. I talked about hydrogen bond. We talk about phosphodiester bond. So number of bondings are there in nucleic acids. That's why they are a little bit complicated in structure. Number of bases are involved in the nucleic acid. That's why they have very complications in understanding their structure. Then we discuss about Chargaff rule. There was one scientist who told that how we can determine whether the nucleic acid is single stranded or double stranded. It depends upon the base pairing. He told that adenine will always pair with thymine in DNA and adenine is always pair with uracil in RNA. But guanine will always pair with cytosine. This is uniformly true, both for the DNA and RNA. So I told you that A plus T bonding, 2 hydrogen bonds, G plus C bonding, 3 hydrogen bonds. So their amounts in the DNA is almost equal. It will having equal amount of adenine, equal amount of thymine, equal amount of guanine, equal amount of cytosine. All the base pair will be in the equal quantity, but pairing is different. So A cannot pair with C and G cannot pair with T. Or A cannot pair with G and T cannot pair with C. Otherwise our structure will be damaged. So when the structure will be good, when A will bind with T and C plus bind with G. So this is called as Chargaff rule. Then primary structure of nucleic acid contains linear sequence of nucleotides. I told you earlier that are linked together by the phosphodiester bond. That are together bonded by the phosphodiester bond. And I told you they contain nitrogenous bases, 5 carbon sugar, 1 or more phosphate group. They are bonded by nitrogenous bases, 5th carbon sugar, 1 or more phosphate group. Okay, we know that this is basically all kinds of bondings are there. They are made up of base, sugar, phosphate. Bases should be all bases, that is A, D, G, C. They are having nitrogen backbone. And the carbon sugar, it is always pentose, no hexose, no tetrose. Only the pentose sugar is there. So these are the specifications which are only limited for nucleic acid. And they contains 1 or more phosphate group also. After that, we come about the secondary structure of DNA. See, in the secondary structure, this is the structure between the bases. In double helix, the two strands of DNA are held together by hydrogen bonds. The nucleotides on one strand base pair with the nucleotide on another strand. 3 carbon of one sugar bind by the 5th carbon of another sugar. Bases are complementary. The secondary structure is responsible for the shape of the nucleic acid. See, basically it contains 2 strands, 1, 2, 3, 4. Strand 1 is having GCG, it is having CGC, complement to each other in strand 3. G is binding with C, C is binding with C, A is binding with T, T is binding with A. So this is called as complementary base pairing. A is always bind with T, C is always bind with G. In both the strands, there is the complementary base pairing. So it is called as secondary structure of DNA, which will responsible for the shape that nucleic acid assumes. Which is responsible for the shape which nucleic acid will resumes. Then we discuss about tertiary structure of DNA. It is more complicated structure than the DNA. So it includes the higher order than the secondary structure in which there is a large scale folding. Folding in the linear polymer occurs. And the entire chain, this complete chain is folded into the three-dimensional structure. The folding of chain completely occurs into the three-dimensional structure. So we can say that tertiary structure of DNA is three-dimensional. Okay, it is what? It is three-dimensional. Then see, now replication of DNA, you studied. DNA to RNA called as transcription, that we studied. RNA to protein is called as translation, we studied. These are the DNA, 5' to 3', 3' to 5'. When 5', see, its complementary is G. When it is G, it is C. When it is T, it is A. When it is A, then it is T. We call as complementary base pairing between 5' to 3'. But when we convert to the mRNA, what will be the complementary base pair in the mRNA? C with G, G with C, A with U. At the place of T, they will have U because uracil is there. So it is DNA is completed to mRNA. mRNA is completed to polypeptide. It is having amino terminus, amino group, and carboxyl terminal. So it is having different amino acids which are attached. For example, arginine, glycine, tyrosine, threonine, alanine, valine, serine. These all are called as polypeptides. Means amino acids are linearly arranged in a chain. That chain is called as polypeptides. So replication means multiple copy of DNA. From DNA to this mRNA, it is transcription. From this mRNA to polypeptide chain, it is called as translation, or we can call as this protein synthesis. So this is the general mechanism how DNA and RNA are important to carry out all the molecular structure. Okay, thus, we can easily conclude how we can study this process. Then see again a diagram. The application of DNA is there. Then DNA to RNA, it is caused by the process called transcription. As I told you, it includes initiation, elongation, termination. I will not repeat the topic again. We have already discussed. When in transcription, there is a role of mRNA. Now, mRNA is of three types: messenger mRNA, transfer RNA, and ribosomal RNA. Messenger mRNA, tRNA, rRNA. Okay, but the main role from here in the protein synthesis is of mRNA, because it is the processing. I told you about the processing of mRNA. It takes place before protein synthesis. So mRNA is very, very important. But when we talk of genetic codes, codon, the coding part is done by tRNA, that is called as transfer tRNA. And rRNA is used for ribosome synthesis. When RNA is again converted to DNA, it is called as reverse transcription. Okay. When RNA is again converted to DNA, it is called as reverse transcription. Because DNA to RNA is what? Transcription, and just reverse transcription. Sometimes in the lab, we require to synthesize complementary DNA from mRNA. We require certain recombinant DNA technology, which we have discussed in the previous classes. So here, RNA will convert it into the DNA. It is called as reverse transcription. So, the next topic, we discuss about DNA already. Now we'll discuss about RNA. RNA is much more abundant than DNA. the quantity of RNA is much more abundant than DNA. There are several important differences between DNA and RNA. There are several important differences between RNA and DNA. What is the difference? The pentose sugar in RNA is ribose and DNA is deoxyribose. Okay, the pentose sugar in RNA is ribose and in DNA it is deoxyribose. Already we know that from the pentose sugar we have removed oxygen, it becomes deoxyribose. In RNA, uracil replaced by the base thymine. I told you that in DNA A always pair with G, but in RNA A will always pair with U because it don't have thymine. It has uracil as a pyrimidine base. A and G are same. Cytosine is same. Differences of thymine and uracil. Generally, RNA is single stranded and DNA is double stranded. Generally, but there are some exceptions where RNA is double stranded and DNA is single stranded. Exceptions are always there. If we talk generally, RNA is single stranded and DNA is double stranded, and the size of RNA is much more smaller than the DNA. The size of RNA is much more smaller than the DNA. So, there are three types of DNA: rRNA, mRNA, and tRNA. Three types of mRNA are there. Three types of RNA are there. Main work of mRNA is in the protein synthesis. So here, sugar is pentose sugar, common. Here sugar is deoxyribose sugar. Just remove O from the OH, it becomes deoxyribose. A pairs with U, in DNA A pairs with T. RNA single stranded, DNA double stranded. Exception is there. RNA small in size, DNA bigger in size. DNA single type, RNA three types: ribosomal RNA, messenger RNA, transfer RNA. Transfer RNA means transfer of codon. So these are the main three types of RNA. Then we discuss in detail about types of RNA molecules. I told you basically there are three types of RNA: rRNA, mRNA, tRNA. Ribosomal RNA is called as rRNA. The total percentage is about 75. The maximum area is covered by rRNA. So it is the major component of the ribosome. rRNA is the major component of the ribosome. mRNA, it is lowest in the quantity. Percentage is 5 to 10. It carries information for protein synthesis, which is very important. I told you, from the DNA in the nucleus to the ribosomes. Okay. mRNA I told you involved in the process of transcription and translation. What is the percentage? Percentage is total 5 to 10%. And in between them, there is tRNA, transfer RNA. It is called as tRNA. What is the role? What is the role of transfer? To transfer something. So they will bring amino acids to the ribosomes for protein synthesis. So what they will do? They will bring amino acids to the ribosomes for the protein synthesis. That's why their name suggests transfer RNA. Then we discuss in detail about the structure of tRNA. Okay. See, it is the tRNA structure. The tRNA translates the the tRNA transfers the genetic code from the messenger RNA. I told you they are responsible for the genetic code from the messenger RNA, and they bring specific amino acids to the ribosome for protein synthesis. Okay. Sorry. And they bring specific amino acids to the ribosomes for protein synthesis. So what is the role of tRNA? Just to bring the amino acids towards the ribosome so that they can complete the protein synthesis. Each amino acid is recognized by one or more specific tRNA. Each amino acid is recognized by specific one or more specific tRNA. We can see there are different regions of tRNA. It appears a clover leaf model that is L-shaped. It has anticodon loop. It has complementary base pairing. It has acceptor arm, which is 5' to 3'. In the 3', the codon which are ending is CCA, and the group is there, hydroxyl group is there. That arm is called as acceptor arm. Okay, this is anticodon loop because in front of that they will form some anticodons. There is a complementary base pairing from this loop. They contain some unusual base pair like dihydrouridine. Okay, so one end stretch to the amino acids and the other binds to the mRNA by 3 base complementary sequence. So that sequence is just 3 tied, which is complementary sequence. So it is called as cloverleaf model, or it is the L-shaped model. So they forms ester bond with the amino acid. Okay. So at the last, they contains codon as CCA. So there is 5' 3' phosphate group is attached to the fifth dash, anticodon loop, trihydrouridine loop, D loop, acceptor arm is there. So basically the main function of tRNA is what? To transfer. To transfer what? Amino acids to the concerned position of the ribosomes to carry out the process of protein synthesis. Then we see about this triplet. This is called as codon. This triplet group of amino acids is called as codon. Each codon is specified for each amino acids, and the codons are always written in 5' to 3' direction. The third base of each codon means, like suppose it is UUC, the third base is C. We discuss about CCU, third base is U. So the third base of each codon plays a smaller role to specify the amino acid than the first two. Means all out there total there are 64 codons. Out of 64, 61 are sensible codons and 3 are nonsense codons. Means they inhibit the process of protein synthesis. These 3 stop codons are UAA, UAG and UGA. So they are also called as termination codons. Okay. So the amino acids determination is mainly determined by the starting 2 codons. The third codon has very less importance. So there are some initiation codon like AUG. AUG codes for methionine, which starts the molecular mechanism like transcription and translation. We can say that AUG is the initiation codon which codes for methionine. See, this is dark green color, and the red colors are UAA, UAG, UGA. They code for nonsense codons. All the amino acids except methionine and tryptophan have more than one codon. All the amino acids except methionine and tryptophan have more than one codon. But methionine is having only one codon, that is AUG, and tryptophan it is having only one codon. Okay. In most cases, codon thus specify the same amino acid differ only at third base. For example, see, this is CUU, this is CUC, both codes for leucine. But if at the place we will change the codons, what they will form? Like in CU, U is replaced by A, so leucine will form by histidine. Means in triplet codon, if any codon is changed, it will change the specification of amino acid. Like CU will code for leucine and CAU codes for histidine. CGA codes for arginine and CCG codes for proline. The CCA and CGA both are almost same, but difference in the middle position. If in the arginine G is replaced by C, they will form proline. So these are the main things which are we discuss about the triplet of codons. First letter is from this side vertically, and second letter is from horizontal. Like first is U, second third is again UUC, then again C, CUC, and A, AUC, then G, GUC. Then again first from here side, again second third from here, UCA, UAG. Similarly, it is the pattern for the codon determination. So these are the main role of tRNA, which is helps in the identification of proper codon on the opposite side. All RNA are having their specific role. Maximum is rRNA, then mRNA and tRNA. mRNA used in protein synthesis, tRNA in transfer of amino acids to the ribosome, and RNA is the major component of the ribosome. So this was all about the nucleic acid. So I hope you could understand better about this topic. Thank you.